Welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Mike L, Kevin Jank.
I'm here, and I don't know what show this is either.
Yes, I never do. But Kev, I got to call you Kev this week because we have a very special guest. Why don't you tell the people who's here?
Well, here to do a very special Christmas issue, I figured since we won't be spending the holidays together, I would invite him here to the show instead. My cousin Pete, my cousin from Earth 2.
Yeah.
Which is what we call the West Coast.
That means he's cooler than you then if he's from Earth 2. Earth 2 is where it's at. Right, Pete? Yeah.
Cooler's maybe not the word. Maybe, I mean, since everybody keeps saying it, maybe just a little bit more special.
A little bit more special. Now, Cousin Pete was on the show once before, and we did Green Lantern. And it's the one where we found out Green Lantern was having sex with a 13-year-old. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
That was weird.
I'll never forget it.
That was crazy.
And they invited a squirrel to watch all the time. I don't know. It was weird.
Yeah, Chip. How can we forget Chip?
My good boy, Chip.
Now, Kev, why don't you tell the people what we're reading today?
So today we're going to be reading The Brave and the Bold, issue 184, I believe it was.
Yes.
From memory on this one. Yeah, all right. It's a very special Batman Christmas issue featuring Batman and the Huntress.
Yeah, the Huntress. Now, Pete, was this your choice, or did Kev just spring this on you?
I can truly say no, it wasn't. But
all
I'm
right.
glad. I'm so glad that I got to experience this. Let me tell you, very exciting.
That makes one of us. Well, yeah, this is our big Christmas issue. You know what? When Mike L used to be here, he used to make us read Christmas issues like the whole month. But we're just doing one. We just do one now. So, why did you pick this one, Kev?
You know what? Much like the last time Pete was on, it's just one of those covers that grabs you. It's going to look good in the thumbnail. So, that YouTube thumbnail, just Batman swearing off his parents and being like, you guys deserve to die. So, I'm like, all right, this is going to be a good Christmas tale.
Yeah.
I mean, spot on.
It's a very heartwarming story.
Yeah.
All right, before we get into the big tell, let's remind everybody, if you're watching us on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Up to 130 subscribers, and Cousin Pete is one of them. He's one of the 130. So, yeah.
I do enjoy listening to the episodes that I'm not on as well. It's nice.
I find that hard to believe. Yeah,
no one enjoys it. It's more court mandated.
Now, Pete, when you were here last time, we learned some distressing news that you're more DC than Marvel, right? You're a big DC guy?
I don't know who was distressed by it, but yes.
I was.
Oh, okay.
That's what the D in DC stands for, Distressed Comics.
All right.
So, like, is Batman, who's your number? Well, I think Green Lantern's probably your number one, right? Did we establish that?
I would say the Flash.
Oh.
Flash is up there, but yeah, Green Lantern's probably a close second. You know, I mean, besides, you know, everybody loves the Batman guy. He's cool.
See, don't just say that, because
everybody except Mike.
Yeah, there are three people on this fake radio show, and one of them does not like the Batman. But I see you like the Batman, and I don't like him because he's a snooty 1%er, keeping down, you know, he's servant of the man, keeping down the average person. But were you
he's real, right?
Yeah. Were you excited? Were you excited to read a Batman Christmas story?
I liked the opening, I'll tell you that. And then somewhere in the middle, there's I don't know if it's an advertisement or what.
Oh, for Aquaman?
To get to it.
Yeah. That was the best part of this whole comic.
I couldn't agree more.
I skipped right over that. You talking about Aquaman where he's going after the Twinkies and stuff?
Yeah, the Twinkies cakes.
I had enough of Aquaman last week on the show. We read Aquaman and I had my fill. I'm like, I'm out of this Aquaman stuff. All right, so this is your book, Brave and the Bold. It ran from August 1955 to July 1983. It's a hell of a run. It ended with issue 200, and then it was replaced by Batman and the Outsiders, Soda Pop and Pony Boy. And
oh, yeah.
Big Golden. Yeah.
This is my favorite.
Pete, do you have any history with the Huntress? She is also featured prominently in this book.
Not personally.
Well, it's not like you dated in college or anything, but have you read any Huntress stories?
No,
Wasn't she the one you left at the movie theater for talking?
No. I am familiar with the Huntress, but no, I would not say that I would be an avid fan or, I really don't know much about her except for I know who she is.
Oh, well, here you go. Here's some background for you. Her real name is Helena Wayne, and her first appearance was at All-Star Comics 69, 1977, created by Paul Levitz, Joe Staton, and Bob Layton. And she's from Earth 2. Yeah, she's from Earth 2, and she was the daughter of Batman and Catwoman. That's odd, right? Yeah. And when she was 19, her mother died. Now, all I did was that she died in some sort of a mishap. I don't know if she slipped in the shower or what, but Catwoman died, and then this caused Bruce Wayne to quit being Batman. He was so distraught. He said, "You know what?"
She's very upset about that. I couldn't tell in this issue, is he dead as well, or is she just so upset that he quit being Batman that she doesn't even want to visit her own dad? She'll look like, I'll go to this universe and visit a guy who is Batman.
Yeah, it seems weird. I think he's dead, right? I think he's dead here.
This issue, I don't really know much about the Brave and the Bold, but I feel like I just entered in the middle of something larger than I had no idea. It started off one way. I was like, okay, this is a weird way to start off. And I was like, I can't keep up what's going on. What's happening? I don't understand where this has taken me, but, Twinkies takes. All right, we're back.
Yeah. Keep it simple.
All right. So anyway, this, back on Earth 2 there, when Selena Kyle, Catwoman, died, not long after a photo surfaced of Catwoman murdering a police officer. And young Helena was horrified by this. She didn't want her mother's good reputation being sullied or ruined by this clearly fake story. So she went and investigated things, and she donned the costume of the Huntress. And she cracked some crooked photographer who worked for the mob or something. I don't know. I might be making this up. But she proved that the Catwoman was a fake photograph. She did not murder a police officer. So she restored her mother's good name.
And that's what's going to happen in this issue.
That's what I was getting to.
Yeah.
They just took that plot and used it for this as well. But so then she just kept working as the Huntress there. And she died during Crisis on Infinite Earths because she was on Earth 2,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rubbed her out. But then a new Huntress came around.
Yeah, that's the one I'm more familiar with.
Oh, what would you like to tell people about it? How much do you know about it?
Not a whole lot. I mean, I know her name was Helena Bertinelli instead of Wayne.
Yeah, that's right. Like Valerie Bertinelli.
Yeah. The Ed would be a big fan of this one.
I know. He would.
But yeah, she was the daughter of a mob boss, I believe.
This gets confusing. This gets confusing. Yeah. She was, all right, so there's this mob boss who's married to a lady, and he was an abusive husband to that lady, So that lady said, you know what, I'm going to go have an affair with another fella. And then she got pregnant to this other fella, and the Huntress was that fella's baby. But then that Huntress still grew up in the household of the mob boss. And then when she was 8 years old,
rubbed out or something.
Yeah, when she was 8 years old, someone came in and assassinated her whole family in front of her. And then she.
I feel familiar with this story. I feel like I've heard this story before, so this is kind of making a little bit more sense.
Grandpa Jank used to tell us this story on his knee.
Yes.
But yeah, she premiered in 1989, and I guess she's a popular character, right? These days with the kids, I don't know.
Sure, I mean she comes in and out. I feel like they killed her off at the end of No Man's Land, but then I'm sure they brought her back in the New 52. So who knows? Sorry.
But we're dealing with the original Huntress in this book, the daughter of Batman and Catwoman from Earth 2. Pete, how do you feel about Earth 2? I'm a big Earth 2 guy. I don't like DC, but if you give me some Earth 2 stuff, I'll read the hell out of it. So I like Earth 2.
I like it. I feel like it all kind of gets a little convoluted, just like any kind of multiverse kind of thing. But I mean, I like it. I like a lot of the Earth 2 stuff, at least the stuff that I have read, which I couldn't even tell you how much of that I have even done so. But I like it. I like the different stories or whatnot from it.
Yeah, I think the heroes are way cooler. Earth 2.
If you say so.
Yeah, that's pretty great. All right, the creators here are Mike W. Barr and Jim Aparo. We just had a Jim Aparo last week as well with Aquaman.
Sure did.
So we all know about him, and we know Mike W. Barr.
Better at drawing shadows in this issue instead of giving people 24 packs on their stomach.
Yeah, this is 12 years later, so he evolved. But Mike W. Barr, he did a lot of Batman stuff. I know we did him on the show a few times. That Batman special, issue 1 we did with Miles Watson way back in the day, where Batman was fighting his doppelganger guy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, the Wrath.
That's right, the Wrath. Look at you.
Yep. I know things.
Hey, get a load of this, though. This story we're about to read here today, this very issue, it was reprinted in Batman the Greatest Stories Ever Told, Volume 2, which collected 10 of Batman's most epic adventures. What?
Huh. This is up there, huh?
So you're telling me in the history of Batman, this is Volume 2, so of the top 20 stories in Batman history, this is one of them? Well, now you see why I hate Batman.
How many stories do you get to see of Batman beating the shit out of Santa? Not many. Not many.
I suppose. But man, how sad is that this ranks as one of his most epic adventures?
Yeah, it's not like it even had far-reaching ramifications. It's like, oh, maybe my parents are dirty. Nope, they're not. Okay.
And I don't want to spoil it, but I love how Batman solves the mystery in this issue.
Oh, yeah.
All right. We'll get into it now. Hey, Kev, why don't you describe the cover for us?
Okay, so it's a pretty great cover. We got the DC, circle over there in the top left corner, and the over in the right corner we got the all new 60 cents. Pretty good price there. I'd pay it.
I'd expect change back if I paid.
Then they have the Brave and the Bold title, just kind of in a little box. It's not very impressive of a title for the book there, but I guess they're relying on the logos for the actual characters themselves to kind of to highlight the book and give it some class. We got the Batman logo, looks very much like the Batman 66 TV show logo, and then the Huntress, which it's a fine logo. It's not the greatest, but it's okay. And then we got Batman. He's in the graveyard at night, and he's just taking his mask off, one piece, just ripping it off, and he's yelling, "My parents deserve to die, and the Batman must die as well." And there's the Huntress kind of just hiding behind a tombstone, watching him do this.
Like a pervert.
A filthy voyeur. And then at the bottom it says, "A different kind of Yuletide tale, the Batman's last Christmas," because he's becoming Jewish and he's not going to be celebrated anymore.
That makes sense.
Pete, how do you feel about this cover?
Oh, I love this cover. It's great. It shows a lot of energy. You see a lot of anger happening within his face. I just love the way that his face is drawn here. It could be taken in so many ways. You see anger. I see frustration.
Possibly constipation.
Also true.
Yeah, I love the way he's holding the mask and the cowl and everything. Like, it's so weird. It looks like a solid piece. It doesn't look like cloth at all.
That is a very good point. Yeah, it definitely looks like he's just holding a solid piece of plastic. Even the way he's holding it is unnatural. He's just got his cowl by the thumb.
If you had a Batman toy, this is what it would look like if you took the thing off, because it'd be one big solid chunk of plastic.
I think Aparo could have took another swing at that left arm. I don't know how that really. It's a little weird.
That's the arm that's got you confused?
Yeah.
Look at that right hand.
The shake weight arm.
The left arm looks a little stubby, and I don't know. But, so there it is. Brave and the Bold, 184. How about that?
Yeah. Oh, man, what a lead-in. I would have to buy this book just to find out why his parents deserve to die. Batman's turned his back on the only thing he's ever loved.
Well, they gave birth to the Hellspawn. I think that's why they deserve to die. I mean, they created this. So, all right, we open up the book, and it's like an old lady at like a children's home, Gotham Children's Home, I guess orphanage, and all these little kids are playing with their presents on Christmas morning. because someone left a big bag of presents for him. You know, who could that have been, Jenk? Who could have left the toys for the little kiddies?
See, it's that kindly old Bruce Wayne that you hate so much for being a rich guy. Look at him, give him back to the kids.
Probably a tax write-off, you know. Just say that. You had to do some of that. So he gave the toys to the kids. But then Pete, we see Commissioner Gordon's up on the rooftop.
Yes.
And are you a big Commissioner Gordon guy?
Did you say the cop?
Yeah, with one of them cops.
I want to know who's listening to this who doesn't know who Commissioner Gordon is, nor his profession. No, I do enjoy him. I really, Commissioner Gordon's awesome.
Hey, did you ever watch that TV show? Because I see it. I think it's on Tubi there, Kev. But Gotham, that TV show about a young
Gordon. That's a great show.
Oh, really?
I didn't like it. I watched it was like 2 seasons, and I was like, I don't know. I'm out.
2 seasons.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I think I watched the first few seasons, and I liked it. I liked where you kind of see. I don't like all the characters in it, but I like the portrayal of Commissioner Gordon, and I like the Penguin. To be honest with you, that actor's awesome.
Yeah, there were elements that were cool. Even the Riddler, I thought had some potential.
Yeah. I love.
Then they were like, "Oh, Victor Freeze, like his name is Fries now." It's like, why?
Yeah,
why would you do that?
I can't love everything.
Well, maybe I'll check it out. But do you remember what Commissioner Gordon is doing here on the rooftop here, Pete? With his little bat signal?
I don't. I actually do not remember.
Smoking pipe.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting for Batman. He doesn't think he's going to come there. He's waiting in the snow. And that cop fella, he's like, hey, he's not going to show up. He's like, he always shows up. He's the Batman, you know? And sure enough, Batman shows up. And then they go into Gordon's office. And this is
very steamy here.
Yeah, it's a little weird. I think Batman's about to make a move on Commissioner Gordon.
A little bit, yeah. He's going to cup him in the boob area.
He's definitely trying. Inching that fist a little bit closer.
He's giving him a back massage and stuff. And he's like, what's wrong, James? Or whatever. And so, Kev, what's going on here? There's some like documents about the mob or something that Gordon wants, or I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think Gordon's kind of worried because there's a new mayor and he's cracking down on Jim, so he's kind of worried about that. But then also, there's somebody's turning state's evidence or whatever, and it got stolen. So he wants Batman to go track it down. Go find the guy that stole this stuff from their informant.
Yeah, like these folders with top secret documents from the mob or whatever. I don't know. So Batman has to go find these stolen documents. He knows that the thief is in some, what did he say, a 6-block area or something they talked him down to? So Batman, you know, he's the world's greatest detective. Yeah, right. But he goes on top.
Yes.
He goes on top of the roof. Detective Chimp has him dead to rights on so many fronts, but we'll just say that Batman might be in the top 20 detectives, maybe. Columbo, Detective Chimp.
Detective Chimp was terrible.
It's great. But Pete, Batman's on the rooftop, and this is where he gets to beat the hell out of Santa Claus, because he's looking, he's like, if someone stole documents, what would they be doing with, they'd be hiding, and they need something to carry them in. And, you know, like a briefcase or it has to be a Santa's bag of toys. That's what he's carrying.
I believe it's not just a bag of toys. It's a sack. He knows there's some documents inside the sack.
He just sees a random Santa Claus on the street and he's like, there's my guy.
No, he says bingo. He's very excited. Bingo, I'm a detective.
I get to go beat the hell out of Santa Claus now. But before we get to that, we cut over and there's some sort of a teleporter machine on some rooftop. And I guess this is how people go from Earth 1 to Earth 2. Kev, are you familiar with this little machine?
I guess it's in the Justice League Tower or whatever they say. Like it's in, this is a Justice League thing, not just anybody can walk in there.
All right, I was going to say this.
That would seem like a bad idea.
And I think it says it's normally invisible to everyone, but except when it's activated. And then the Huntress pops out of it. She's looking pretty foxy, but she's not dressed for the weather at all. You know,
nope.
It's like nothing Gotham, and she's
Earth 2 must be like, you know, the southern hemisphere. Like everything's opposite. It's actually summertime there.
Yeah, it's just be very chill. So we get a little overview of Earth 2. And look, they show like Earth 1, you got Green Lantern, Flash, and Aquaman. Duds. And then on the other side, you got a cool Flash, Dr. Fate, and a cool Green Lantern. Earth 2
No. Dr. Fate's okay, but those other guys could go spit.
Those other guys are great. And we see Huntress swinging her way through the city. Yeah, because notice her costume's kind of like a mix between Batman and Catwoman a little bit, maybe.
A little bit?
Like blue and purple.
Kind of Catwoman-y? Yeah. She doesn't have the cool cat mask that, Catwoman had in her early days. Remember?
Pete, we read a book, I think it was All-Star Squadron Annual. We did this a few months ago, and apparently Catwoman used to be a furry. Were you aware of this? Like, she dressed like a sexy lady from the neck down, just like a cocktail evening dress. And then on her head, she had like a cat head. Like all cat.
I feel like
on like furry cat head.
Wasn't this one of the costumes in Arkham City or something? I feel like I've seen this.
It might have been.
I feel like I've seen it or heard it. What was the comic called again? It was Catwoman. Which one?
It was All-Star Squadron Annual 3, I think. And like it features the Justice Society, and like the story took place, Jenk, 1940s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a flashback to back in that time. And I guess, yeah. But yeah, Catwoman. Pretty nuts.
Yeah, I have to dive into that. That's fantastic.
All right, so now we come back to Batman, Pete, and he's just slapping the hell out of Santa Claus.
As one does.
Smacking him around. Smacking him right in the mouth. And then he finds all the folders and the documents in the snow. He's like, "Oh, I better protect these from the snow so they don't get ruined." And he starts looking at the documents like, "What the what? Thomas Wayne is a filthy mobster? What? This is terrible."
It's very coincidental that was the first thing he saw in this pile.
I know.
He was scooping them up.
Thomas Wayne. So Santa Claus, though, he doesn't. Batman's so distracted. Santa Claus has a gun. And he's about to kill the Batman there, Kev, but what happens?
Huntress comes in and kicks him right in the face. Although it's a very strange looking kick.
well, first she throws her dagger, but she hits him in the wrist with like the handle of it.
Yeah, that's right.
Which, she's way nicer Santa Claus than Batman is. He would have put the blade right in his throat. But then.
No, he just would have kept slapping him. Let's be fair. That's Batman's move. He even slaps Robin like that. There's that famous panel.
And then, so Santa Claus is KO'd or whatever. And then Huntress and Batman, they're talking, and she's like, what's wrong? She calls him Uncle
Bruce.
Bruce.
Uncle Bruce. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I almost said Uncle Wayne as well. Uncle Bruce. That's got to be weird, though, right? Because it's like, he has to look exactly like her dad.
Yeah.
Right?
They're twinsies. She thinks of it that way.
I get the feeling he's like, her dad was older.
Yeah.
And like flashbacks. So yeah, it's probably like a younger version of her dad.
Because in the flashbacks, he has like the gray on the temples.
Yeah.
It's always a good look.
Yeah.
Gray on the temples. So she's like, hey, Uncle Bruce or whatever, what's wrong? You look distracted. It looks like you just saw that your father's a filthy mobster. Is that what happened?
Elena, like, are you the greatest detective ever?
And they just leave that Santa Claus passed out in the snow so he can freeze to death. And Batman says, the police will take care of him, Elena. Right now I need to talk. Just lead the way, Uncle Bruce. I've always got time, ... for you.
Also, maybe don't call him Uncle Bruce when you're in the streets with people around.
Yeah.
It's probably not a good idea.
Also, it kind of feels like Huntress is into Uncle Bruce, if I can be honest.
Yeah.
There's
definitely a couple moments where I'm just like, what is this? Where did we go and how did we get here?
He wasn't already spoken for with Jim Gordon. I don't know. Something could have happened.
So, Kev, they, look at the size of that wreath on that building. Holy hell. But they go back to,
I could crush someone, yeah.
Take out cars with that thing. Like a Joker scheme waiting to happen. All right. So they go back to Bruce Wayne's penthouse, because he's a filthy 1%er. And what are they talking about here, Kev? He's explaining things to Helena. And
yeah, like, I think my parents might have been dirty, and then like my dad might have been funneling money to some gangster to like kind of, fund his rise to power. And he's like, everything I've been doing is my whole war on crime's been a lie then, if my parents were dirty.
See, this is the part that lost me. I didn't understand like the lack of motivation, because I think if I find out my dad's a filthy crook, I'd be even a better crime fighter. I need to make up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Batman just says, I'm going to quit. I'm just going to quit being Batman. And also Batman.
Live off this dirty money.
This whole time, as soon as Batman gets even a hint that his dad was a crook, he's like, all right, I believe it.
Yeah, right.
That sounds about right.
And that's why I thought that this was like something that was like leading up to this issue, because it happened so suddenly. I'm like, wow, I don't understand how we got here. There's something that I missed? Why was this letter here in the first place? How did he know right then and there that, oh boy, Christ, my father? Oh,
yeah, as soon as he reads,
stop being me.
As soon as he reads it, he's like, oh yeah, that seems about right. I had my suspicions about him when I was a kid. Like, you think Batman would be like, no, I got to prove this is fake. This is a lie. I got to go out and set up. But he's like reluctant to even like look into it. It's like,
yeah. Lane has to be like, hey, you're the greatest detective. Like, why don't you look into this? He's like, oh yeah.
Well, he's like, well, first of all, he says Detective Chimps better than me. But yeah, we can do it. We can look into it if you want. And
look at my father's accountant.
Look at that one panel with the Christmas tree in the foreground and them just in silhouette in the background.
Yeah. It's like they're about to kiss.
Yeah, the Christmas tree.
She definitely shows off her furry man, that's for sure.
This almost went down the Atari Force route.
Yeah, comic books had a weird thing about incest back in the day. It seemed like it was all okay. But so now, so Bruce's big plan is to go talk to his dad's former accountant. And he's like an 85-year-old dude. He's real sick. He's in his house,
Well, apparently, he's only in his 60s, but he's...
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
They make an important mention of that.
He aged well before his time. But
yeah.
And they bring him a present. It's the first time, Bruce has seen him in 20 years or so. And he just stops by with no warning, and he brings the poor old guy a gift. Oh, wait, what's this gift? Oh, from a millionaire fella. He's probably giving me a nice gift. Oh, it's just a picture of Bruce Wayne and his family. Screw you, Bruce Wayne. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's a real kick in the pants if you're that guy.
But I guess the accountant's in the photo too, so I guess it's like, oh, look, you were young once. Remember this? When you were young, not an old man in a wheelchair. Remember that?
Sorry, I haven't visited you in 20 years, but now I need a favor.
He's like, hey, do you happen to have my father's financial records from 20 some years ago? And he's like, oh yeah, I got it right here on the shelf. Hey, his butler just climbs up a ladder. He like pulls them out of it. It's like, oh, here they are. It's like, oh, thanks. That's pretty good.
What great service.
And then Bruce Wayne's looking through the old documents there, the records of his father's spending. Wow, there's sure a lot of payments to hookers. Wow, look at all that. But all the entries on this ledger, they all match up with like the $10,000 payment supposedly paid to this mobster.
Uh-oh.
He's like, oh no, this doesn't look good at all.
No. But it does look good because the next page is the best part of the book.
Yeah, so you're going to have to take over now because I don't know anything. I skipped right by this. So I'll leave this to you and Pete.
Yeah, Pete, go ahead.
Tell me this part's glorious. Pirate's Gold. So now the comic, at this point we've seen a lot of different things, right? We've seen Batman beat the Jesus out of Santa. Then we go to Earth 2 and we're seeing some different heroes. And I'm like, oh man, this is getting pretty crazy. And then it goes back to Batman, but now the Huntress is there. I'm like, and then I get to this page. I'm like, oh, now we're talking about Aquaman. Let's see what this one's all about. And I was not expecting this. We're here at the Aquaman and the Pirate's Gold. What is this gold that they're referring to? Well, it could only be one thing. Twinkies cakes. They're golden sponge cakes named Twinkies cakes. And they need to go recover it from scuba divers that look to be enjoying themselves.
Yeah, these guys are dropping explosives on Atlantis to find some buried treasure. And Aquaman's like, hey, knock it off. And they're like, no, we want this treasure real bad. And Aquaman's like, I got a plan, Aqualad. We're going to give them these sponge cakes and then we'll all be best friends. Even though they were just blowing up our home.
No. The real treasure was the Twinkies cakes. There was no gold down there. The gold, that treasure chest was just more Twinkies cakes.
Like they all wave at each other at the end, like, "Oh, hey, yeah, sorry, we murdered half your people." Thanks for this.
I like the first panel. There's a big explosion under the sea there, and Aqualad says, "Great guppies." Good exclamation. Great guppies.
I like it.
We need to give this section of the comic its own grade at the end. It's going to be a full 10.
Yeah, like Marvel back in the day, they always had fruit pies more so than Twinkies.
Yeah.
Spider-Man would always be rescuing, stopping crooks from stealing fruit pies or something. But,
ain't no Twinkies.
I'm trying to think if they had Twinkies or Hostess cakes as well, but definitely fruit pies. All right, so now we return to our originally scheduled program, and Batman and Helena, they're leaving the accountant there. And Batman, Bruce Wayne, he's just so depressed.
Yeah, he's moping.
He's a real sourpuss.
Yep. And, oh wait, he's got to go see that mobster. What's this mobster's guy's name? Like Spur or something?
Spurs Sanders.
Spurs
Sanders.
He makes great fried chicken, that Spurs Sanders. So this is the guy who was supposedly getting the payments from Thomas Wayne. So Batman says, all right, we got to go talk to this guy. So Kev, how about when they got to sneak into the mansion there, and Batman, expert of disguise,
camouflage, yeah.
How did this work exactly?
There's 2 armed gunmen. What are you gonna do? You can't possibly take out 2 gunmen, so you have to use the environment to your advantage here, and bury yourself in the snow for God knows how many hours until they come walking by.
Exactly my question. How long was he buried in that snow? And he's just waiting there. And then he comes up behind him and conks their heads together. So.
Yep.
That's always good.
He was like bat warmers.
And Huntress just comes running in then. Well, why didn't you just stay with Huntress? Why did you have to bury yourself in the snow? Why didn't you just go where Huntress was and then jump on him, But I don't know. It's very odd. And then they just break into this guy's house. Hey, just because he's a mobster doesn't mean you can't just ignore the laws, He's
a vigilante.
Yeah, it's in the name.
They should press charges on Batman. And then he cracks the one right in the head with a batarang. I mean, that guy's probably dead now, right? I mean, he hits him with that in the head. And old Spurs Sanders. Yeah, this mobster, he's dressed like an old Western guy with the, boots with spurs on him and a Western tie and a big hat and he's smoking a cigar. Yeah.
Batman's like, I happen to know you've never been west of the Gotham River. Calling him on his shit.
And he goes, oh, you want to know about Thomas Wayne, huh? I'll tell you about Thomas Wayne. And he puts on this old tape recording of Thomas Wayne's voice. Yeah. And he says, it's a deal, Spurs. I'll invest my money in your battle for the Gotham mobs, and you make me rich. And Batman thinks that voice, unmistakable, even after all these years. But Pete, if you're looking at this panel by chance,
I am.
What's the big key to this panel? What's the big key, the big clue we got to be paying attention to?
I'm not sure what the big key is. I know that the big thing that you're trying to figure out is the voice. There's a lot of talk about it. There's no way it's the voice. Could be the voice, something about the voice.
Yeah, but right underneath those dialogue boxes. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, there's a little tap sound effect. It comes back.
Oh, yes.
Tap, tap.
Not in anywhere you would need it to be an actual clue. But
yeah. No, readers, take note of that tap, tap. It comes in later. Then Batman says, it's my father, all right. And old Spurs, he says, hey, well, I got this here tape recording. Unless you give me those documents, I'm going to expose Thomas Wayne for being a filthy crook. And Batman says, all right, I think I better leave before I do something you'll regret.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Like kiss my niece from another Earth. So Batman and the Huntress leave, and the Huntress is very concerned because, she's seen her father quit being Batman, and she thinks Uncle Bruce is going to quit being Batman too. So she's very distraught over all this. And so she follows Batman to the cemetery, and she's hiding behind the gravestones there. And we get a recreation of the cover. It's the same thing.
Pretty good.
It's like the same damn thing.
Comic delivered.
Less
What
left hand shaking, though.
Yeah. And his mouth isn't open, like screaming as much. Like his mouth is shut here. But, it's pretty weird because even Huntress is like in the same position basically as the cover. You get like scenes that are similar to covers, but rarely you do get like a 1-for-1 panel for cover. It's interesting.
I mean, with an image this striking, you got to go with it, I guess.
Did you know it was in the top Batman stories of all time?
Yeah.
Thought I'd bring that up.
Well, in fairness,
because then the next part is where Batman like drops a deuce on his dad's grave. Like, I'll show you, old man. Just poops all over the place.
That seemed excessive. But Pete, in fairness, do you think the reason this issue scores so highly among his most epic adventures is because of the Aquaman Twinkie saga that was in the middle? Do you think maybe that
it added to it?
It didn't hurt. Yeah, it didn't hurt. So now we get Huntress, and she's thinking back. She's horrified by what she's seeing, and she's remembering how Catwoman died in her father's arms, and that was her mother, and how he just quit being. Also, Batman just stands up and leaves her dead body in the ground there. That seems weird. You think
that is very true.
He would like carry her somewhere, but no, he just leaves her. He's like, all right, I'm done with her. She's dead. And he walks away.
You should get some stand over her like all the cats used to do.
Good litter box joke there. Yeah. And then we see Batman. He quits being Batman. And now we cut back to Bruce, modern day. And Bruce is living it up. He's out with 2 ladies on the town.
Yeah.
But he's all sad.
A blonde and a brunette there, but he ain't getting it up tonight.
That brunette is definitely Rizzo from Grease. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, the ladies are all mad at him because, he's not excited. And why is the one lady dressed like Mrs. Claus as well? She has a Santa Claus outfit on.
Yeah, I find it peculiar because the one in green looks like an elf.
So he just mopes around the streets of Gotham, in the snow. And and then we see the criminal.
He basically gives up being Batman for all of one page. And this is that page.
He could have had a threesome with those 2 ladies, but he was so sad he didn't. That was the cost he paid, Kev.
Yeah,
I'll give it up.
It's true.
But
never get that back.
But now we see that Santa Claus from earlier, the one that Batman was slapping the hell out of. Now he's all happy. He's like, hey, I got money from doing that job, for them gangsters. So he bought his son some toys, for Christmas. And they're going to go have themselves.
It's son for putting up with me. Oh, look at him.
You masterminded that scheme, son. It really paid off. And so they give him his toys. But the mob guys, they didn't get their documents, so they're upset about the Santa Claus guy. So they're waiting, and they're going to run him over with the car. And, but Santa Claus.
And the kid.
Yeah, because, who cares? The kid's masterminding the whole scheme. So the dad pushes the kid out of the way, but thankfully the Huntress is there to save the Santa Claus. And then she just has a card there, and she's like, here's a place you can stay till the heat cools off, Well, that's nice. She just keeps a safe house.
From here.
I know. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it's on Earth too. But if you can get there, you'll be safe. What is that?
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre.
Yeah.
Because before they just left him to die in the snow, And now she's making sure he has a safe house and a place to, I don't know. Seems strange. But, all right. So then, this is also a little weird because Bruce witnesses all this,
Mm-hmm.
And now he seems very happy. He seems like he's overcome with joy that he saw a father, even though his father's a thief, that he's taking care of his son there. And he's like, oh, look at that father and son enjoying Christmas. Huntress just saved him. Oh, look at that. And now it seems like, oh, yeah, he's going to be Batman again,
Mm-hmm.
But not so fast. He still has doubts. He's still,
Yeah. It is weird because he basically, he says like, oh, I realized I want to spare people the pain that I went through. So that's what Batman's really all about. And then he's just like, oh yeah, but I still want to be Batman.
But I'm still sad.
Yeah, I could have had that 3-way. I let it slip away.
I'm not even sad about my father anymore. Now I'm just sad that I missed out on Mrs. Claus and her elf.
But now he's thinking back to his early Christmases with his old man, and he remembers one where that accountant was there, and that accountant.
As an accountant, I know that I often go to my clients' houses for Christmas.
You keep all your clients' records for 20, 30 years on a shelf in your house, and
oh sure,
but this
toilet paper sometimes, whatever.
He's remembering back to this meeting on Christmas morning with his accountant, and what does he notice, Kev, about the accountant when he's thinking back in his mind?
Well, I mean, he notices the accountant putting his hand on his father's shoulder there, and then he says, "That's it." So you would think there would be some sound effects here, but there were not. So he is clued into something that we, the audience, are not.
And then he tells Helena, you know what? It's time for me to be Batman again. And he just rips open his shirt and he's got his Batman outfit underneath already.
He just never really truly took it off.
Yeah.
I remember when Spider-Man was in the Amazing Spider-Man 50, it was like, Spider-Man no more. He threw that shit in the garbage can.
Yes.
He didn't just wear it under his clothes.
Bruce Wayne just put on a button down over top of it. I'm not Batman anymore. No.
It's an eternal condom. That's why he was sad earlier.
And then he just tells
threesome. I want him to see my Batman outfit.
And then he throws the cowl on and the cape and he's like, hey, Helena, it's time for you to suit up too. I want to see you in your little skimpy outfit. And he just puts the little mask up. He has her mask already. Like, where the hell did he have her mask?
He keistered it.
So they suit up and there's a floating severed head of Thomas Wayne in the background to show you.
I think that's old man Bruce, Helena's dad.
Oh, okay.
Vasa.
And so they're going to go pay a visit, or at least Bruce is going to go pay a visit to that accountant, this sick elderly old man. And he pops down the chimney like Santa Claus.
It's true.
It's strange. And he says, I know it was you. Because 2 things. 1, you're the best voice impersonator this side of Rich Little. And 2, you have a nervous tick that you tap your finger all the time. And I remember you were tapping my father's shoulder at Christmas. And I heard tapping sounds on the audio recording. So clearly it has to be you. What? That was so
riveting.
Like, you could have at least gone back and, like, when Bruce saw him the first time, you could have put some taps in there.
Yeah.
You could put that in that scene where we saw him with Thomas Wayne. Like, put some taps in there. I mean, I wouldn't have noticed. I wouldn't have, like, read that much into it to notice. So at least put it in there so that you can look back and be like, oh, they did put the clues in here. Nope.
I feel like they did it on purpose to basically show that, hey, you're not the greatest detective ever. Batman is. Batman picked up on it. You never would. Dummy.
But I couldn't hear it.
Like, I'm reading.
How was I supposed to? He's the greatest detective, but he can't tell his dad's voice from this accountant's voice.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. You don't recognize your old man's voice? What's going on here?
I mean, I guess he was a little kid, but still, like, how good of an impressionist could this guy be? Like, fooling everyone, apparently. It's fooling all kind of other people, and
because if you let the tape play a little bit longer after Thomas Wayne's on there, also John Wayne is on there giving donations. There's a whole repertoire of voices on there.
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
He has a good act. All right, so while Bruce was talking to the accountant guy, by the way, Pete, do you remember what he says his punishment is? Because the old accountant says, "Oh, are you going to arrest me now?" And what is? Do you remember what Batman tells him?
I don't.
Batman tells him, he's like,
"Yeah, you can't prove it. You'll never put me in prison."
Yeah, and Batman's like, "Well, you're already in prison. Think about it." And he leaves. And it's like, well, you're in a mansion and you have a wait, what's the word I'm looking for? A butler and a maid and a nurse. You're in pretty good shape, I think. You got it pretty good, Mr. Accountant. That's not really a
Well, I mean, I guess he's 60 years old and he looks like an 80-year-old man and he's in like a wheelchair and it's like neurologic diseases and stuff like that. So still, he's not living the best life.
He's got it pretty good, if you ask me.
He's probably not getting into those Bruce Wayne threesomes every night. Even with all that money.
Not anymore, but that explains the legs.
He's just spent. That's why he can't walk anymore.
His knees are weakened.
So while Bruce is threatening an old man, and Huntress is going at Spur Sanders, and I guess I can't really tell what's going on in the background of this panel. Like, she beat up all his guys, or are they being arrested, or what's going on back there? Can you?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of like those weird clown orderlies from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, that weird nightmare sequence. Like, they're wheeling in his bike back there or something. I don't know.
I'm not really sure what's going on. Also, her costume looks different. There's a lot of white on it now.
Yeah.
It kind of goes back and forth in this exact one page here. It's white, and then it goes back to pink. Who knows?
But what is she telling Spurs here, Kev? She's like,
I think she says that, that wasn't Thomas Wayne's voice and Batman can prove it, so you better stop trying to blackmail Batman because he doesn't care anymore. He's like, oh yeah, but people will believe it. It's Thomas Wayne. And she's like, nah, we'll just tell the reporters that it wasn't. That'll be good enough.
Yeah.
Like, damn, curses. Foiled again.
She's like, no, but if enough people read it in the Gotham Gazette, they'll believe it. So yeah, she's just seeing the virtues of propaganda. She's just saying, yes, we can make these stupid Gotham people believe anything. So, but also
influence the media. Don't worry about it.
Do you think Spur Sanders at any point is like, why the hell does Batman care what Thomas Wayne was doing?
Yeah,
like,
that's a very good point.
Yeah. Like, if Batman's Bruce Wayne, yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but he doesn't know he's Bruce. So why does Batman give a damn what Thomas Wayne was given to the mob 20-some years ago? Who cares?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how he expected that plan to really ever work. Like, how he thought this was going to get Batman under his thumb. I never thought for a second that was going to happen.
I'll expose Thomas Wayne as evil. All right. I'm Batman. I'm no relation to him whatsoever, but yeah, I guess
that is a very good point.
Unless you have any evidence on Mr. Batman, that's
yeah,
you have nothing on me.
Which is what I go by.
Mr. Batman.
So Spurs says, "Hey, what'd you do with those documents?" And Hunter says, "Oh, I gave them to somebody who'll make good use of them or whatever." And then we see Commissioner Gordon. He's always smoking that damn pipe, even on Christmas. But he opens his door and there's a Christmas present with the documents, I guess, inside there. So
it's also like a picture of Batman in a thong.
Next to Thomas Wayne.
This is your real Christmas present, Jim.
So now we see families all over Gotham enjoying Christmas. And oh, look, there's a little kid. He's getting a Superman and a Flash present, I guess, under the tree there. And then we get Batman. He's finally going to make his move on his niece.
Yeah. She's like, I just want to stay and watch you. That's my pick. All right. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's very strange, these two here.
But they go back to the cemetery there, and old Batman says, "And I swear by your spirits to rededicate my life to warring on all criminals. Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad. Let's just pretend I didn't believe you were a Kirk Bissell issue, all right? Let's just pretend that didn't happen."
That I'm easily swayed.
I told you guys to fuck off.
I always believed in you. I never wavered for 1 second. I love you guys. You're the tops.
Hey, you weren't around for me to have my rebellious teenage years where I told you to get out of my room. So consider this that.
And then on the left, we see a naked angel. A couple naked angels holding up a scroll that says "Merry Christmas" from the DC staff, and like everybody's signatures are in there.
Yeah,
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
what a hard way to end this tale.
It was powerful.
Now there was a backup story in this issue featuring Nemesis.
Yeah, Everyone gave Nemesis.
Thankfully, Kev reached out to me a few days ago and said, "Hey, you don't have to worry about reading that." And I'm like, "Hey, thank you." I did not.
Yep. Save a couple pages.
Pete, do you know anything about Nemesis?
Nope. I started, as soon as the Batman one finished, I was like, oh, what's this? More Batman? And I was like, all right, I'll read a little bit of this. And then I got to somebody named the Great Fox or something, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't really know what Nemesis is. It's just a dude. It looks like an old 70s cop show or something.
Yeah.
Looks like a 30s, like, mobster kind of thing going on.
Yeah, the Gray Fox. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that guy or whatever. But so there's some cool panels in here, though. I don't know who did the art here, but anyway.
Yeah, it looks like an old serial type thing. Yeah, not too exciting.
Tracy or something.
Yeah, very much.
So that's Nemesis. All right, Pete, what'd you think? Brave and the Bold, issue 184, Batman's Christmas epic. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought. I mean, it's very strange that there was a Batman Santa Claus issue, and I'm happy that it went the way it did. I mean, it could have gone a very happy way of, good old Saint Nick giving gifts to everybody. I'll help him out. Oh, the Riddler. No. He takes Santa out, literally, like page 3.
Well, Pete, when you bring this up, Pete, this reminds me, Kev, you weren't here, but one of the years Mike L was here, he made us read one of those Christmas deals. You know, he always does.
Yeah, Christmas with the Super.
I don't know if you remember, wasn't there a story where, like, featuring the Justice League, where at the first panel you see Santa Claus dead, like he's stabbed or something, and someone killed Santa Claus, and they had to figure this out. I seem to recall that. But,
could be.
Yeah. So apparently DC hates Santa Claus. But
I mean, Marvel wasn't much better. I remember, like, Daredevil getting beat up by Santa Claus during Born Again, and there was like a Santa Claus killer in like Spectacular Spider-Man.
But Pete, aside from Batman slapping around Santa Claus, what's there to really like about this? I don't know.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Minus the Twinkies. Yeah, it just seemed like a very weird story overall. I didn't understand, just like you guys were talking about, I didn't understand why Batman was like, he sees this letter and instantly he just gives up. Like, that doesn't even sound like anything Batman would do. It's just so out of nowhere.
Yeah, he should be, like, hell-bent to prove his father's innocence. Like, I'm going to prove if it kills, I want to prove. But no, he just rolls right over. He's like, yep.
He almost watched a child get hit by a car. And he's like, no, I still can't do it, brah.
Kev, how do you feel about it? I think we covered like the tapping on the shoulder, nervous tapping. Yeah, that was terrible.
If you're going to do a mystery, at least lay the clues out so that you could, potentially pick up on them. Even, like I said, I would never have noticed that, but at least I could have looked back and been like, oh, this was a good mystery. Okay, that's cool. But yeah, this doesn't seem like Batman. It definitely seems like until kind of post-crisis, they didn't really know what to do with Batman. Like, he was just kind of a guy. Like, he wasn't as cool as he is now, where he like knows everything and, is super good at stuff and like very serious about his mission. Like, he was just kind of a guy, like, fumbling his way around, it seemed like. I don't know. Wasn't the best.
Just like Nemesis.
He's nothing without his adolescent sidekicks. He needs the little kids to fix him. But
Huntress is far too old.
She's an adult girl. You need Green Lantern needs an 11-year-old.
Guppies.
So, Jim Aparo's art here is pretty good. He made Huntress look good.
Your coloring was inconsistent, but other than that.
The writing was the big problem here. Just, it didn't feel like you said, it doesn't feel like it's actually Batman, and
there was no stakes. Like, he quit being Batman, like I said, for one page. It's like, this wasn't much of you didn't feel like, oh, you really lost
the three-way, Kev. He lost out on the three-way. That was the big problem. So,
that is a loss. Take an L on that one.
Pete, can you think of any other good Christmas comic books you've read over the years? Any stories come to mind that you encountered?
Nope. Not a single one.
Yeah.
Their batting record isn't great.
Because I've read a lot of them on this show, and I can't really think of a good one either. I don't know. There's not too much.
I mean, there was that X-Men one where, like, Kitty Pryde was home alone and, like, the Nagari showed up. I think that was pretty good.
Yep. That was good. That's about it. All right, so Pete, what do you give Brave and the Bold 1 out of 10?
3. I'm going to give it a 3.
Sounds about right. Kev, what do you think?
I think I'm probably in the same ballpark. I mean, maybe I'll go a 4 to be generous. But that Aquaman thing, I mean, that's getting a solid 10.
That's true, yeah.
That's maybe I'll have to go back and reread that Aquaman thing to truly treasure it.
It's
all right. Well, Pete, thank you so much for coming back on the big show. But for next week, now's the point where I have to reveal what we're going to be doing next week.
Yeah, it's going to be a surprise to everyone, including Mike Duff.
Yeah. So I think we're going to go with Uncanny X-Men issue 166. And
did you hear that? Did you hear that just there?
No, I didn't.
Did not sound like Black Orchid.
That's right. I'm sorry, Pete. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was good.
That was a sound of 1,000 voices crying out in sadness.
Pete was hoping for another option that I mentioned earlier. Maybe someday we'll do Black Orchid, but we'll go X-Men 166, and this is the Brood, and
all right.
What's that lady with the crazy haircut? She's an alien.
Elandra?
Yes, there it is. Elandra, she's in this.
Yeah.
Carol Danvers is in this. And Paul Smith.
Probably around the time of Binary, right? She became Binary?
Yes, she is Binary. Carol Danvers is Binary. So, but I believe our buddy Jonathan Leduc, one of our proud members of the Flea Army, requested an X-Men with the Brood, possibly. So we'll do this one. X-Men versus the Brood. I think Charles Xavier dies in this, right? Isn't this when he dies? Or they think he dies or something? And
yeah, I think so. And then he comes back with like a young, non-crippled body, essentially.
Yeah, because I think Elandra takes him into space to like heal him, with...
yeah, that happens a couple of times, because then he does it again around 200. Remember, he has like a heart attack or whatever, and they take him up into space, and Magneto becomes head of the X-Men.
What, these guys all mutants or something?
Yeah, mutants. Yeah, mutants. So, all right, Pete. Well, next time you come back on the show, Pete, and please, you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you.
We'll let you pick the book,
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to read, as long as it's not Flash or Green Lantern or Batman or Aquaman.
I'm going to be Flash. Yeah, you gave me the reins, so I'll
we've only done one Flash issue on the show in the 4 years, and I think it was, it had Gorilla Grodd in it, so I liked it. It had a big, but I think it was some sort of an annual or something, like, cause I remember there was like a lot of pages I had to read. There's a lot of pages.
I'm not going to do that to anybody.
And I think it had like the old school Earth 2 Flash in it as well, and the new Flash, and all kind of stuff going on. But anyway. All right, Pete. Well, thank you, buddy. We appreciate it. Next week, X-Men. And until then, don't get any jank on you.